There will always be people who are uncomfortable with your growth. And here's the truth, that's not about you. That's about them. When you start pushing yourself, challenging your limits, and stepping into new uncomfortable spaces, you disrupt something in the people around you. Your growth challenges their status quo. It shakes up the comfort they found in stagnation. It's easy to stay stuck, to stay in a place where you know everything, where everything feels safe and predictable. But growth, real, meaningful growth, requires discomfort. It requires us to face things we don't want to face, to risk failure, and to be vulnerable in ways that make us want to shrink away. When you grow, you're essentially saying to the world, I am ready for more. I am willing to face what I've avoided. I am willing to change. And that terrifies people who have made peace with staying exactly where they are. It's like a mirror. You growing forces them to see what they're not doing, what they're avoiding, and how much they're staying stuck because it feels safer. And they might react sometimes with jealousy, sometimes with criticism, sometimes with silence. But understand this, their reaction is about their own fear, not your worth or your ability. Growth isn't about making others feel small. It's about choosing yourself. It's about showing up for your own life in ways that demand courage. And yes, you might lose people along the way, but the truth is the right people will stick around. Those who are comfortable in their own growth will celebrate yours. But those who are stuck in their own fear of change will find your progress threatening. And that's okay. The only person you need to worry about is the one you see in the mirror every morning. The only person whose growth matters is your own. So when others push back or criticize or avoid you, remind yourself this is their journey, not yours. You have no control over how others respond to your growth, but you do have control over how you continue to show up, how you continue to challenge yourself, and how you continue to honor the person you are becoming. Remember this, growth is not a quiet, comfortable journey. It's loud, messy, and full of contradictions, but it is yours, and that is enough. Keep going, keep growing, keep being brave, and know that the world needs what you are becoming. When you start growing, really growing, stepping into new challenges, taking risks, and doing things that stretch your boundaries, you will inevitably disrupt the comfort zone of others around you. And here's the reality, that's not about you. It's about them. Your growth forces others to confront the fact that they're not growing in the same way, and for some, that can be deeply uncomfortable. We live in a world that often values comfort over change, stability over growth, and predictability over risk. So when you begin to make bold choices, try new things, or simply show up differently in the world, it can shake up the calm, predictable life that others have settled into. And while you might be stepping into new spaces full of uncertainty and excitement, others might view your growth as a threat to their sense of control. You're not the problem here. What's happening is that your journey towards becoming a better version of yourself is a mirror to those around you. People who are stuck in their own lives, who have chosen the path of least resistance, might feel a sense of discomfort when they see someone else embracing change. It's like looking at a reflection of everything they're avoiding, the risk they're unwilling to take, the growth they're afraid of, and the vulnerability they won't allow themselves to experience. Your growth can remind them of everything they have yet to do, or worse, everything they are avoiding doing. And when people feel this discomfort, their response can often be resistance, criticism, or even outright hostility. They may not always express it, but it's there. They may silently resent your progress, or they may try to subtly undermine you. It's not necessarily because they wish you harm, but because your transformation represents a challenge to their own complacency. Your courage to grow forces them to confront the truth that they too could be changing if they were willing to face their fears and move beyond their comfort zones. Think about it. How many times have you been in a situation where someone in your life remained firmly rooted in their familiar way of thinking, their predictable routine, and when you tried to make a change, whether it was taking a new job, pursuing a new interest, or just growing in a way that challenged the status quo, they reacted negatively? They may have said something like, "Why do you need to do that? Why can't you just be happy with what you have?" Or worse, they might have said nothing at all, choosing silence as their form of disapproval. This is not a reflection of your inadequacies or flaws. It's a reflection of their own fear of stepping into unknown territory. When you grow, you trigger something in them. You challenge their mindset, their life choices, their own limits, and sometimes that's just too much to face. So instead of celebrating your courage, they pull away, criticize, or try to pull you back to where it's comfortable. But here's where it gets powerful. This is not a reason to stop. This is not a sign that you're doing something wrong. In fact, it's often an indication that you're on the right path. Growth, real growth, often comes with resistance. If it didn't, you'd just be floating along in life, changing nothing, risking nothing, and learning nothing. But you're here to do more than just exist in comfort. You're here to challenge yourself, to push your limits, and to become someone who is constantly evolving and expanding. And yes, that will make others uncomfortable. However, it's crucial to remember that you can't control other people's reactions. You don't have the power to make everyone comfortable with your growth. What you do have is the ability to continue on your path, to honor your own journey, and to be unapologetic about the choices you make for yourself. The people who are ready to support you, those who are also committed to their own growth, will find you, and those who are stuck, who fear change, might eventually leave or simply drift away. That's part of the process. You can't shrink yourself to make others feel more comfortable. You can't dim your light just because someone else might feel threatened by it. You are not here to stay small to fit into someone else's idea of what is comfortable. You are here to step fully into who you are meant to be, even if that means shaking things up and challenging the way others have chosen to live their lives. So yes, your growth will offend those who are comfortable in stagnation. It will make some people uncomfortable. It will push some people away, and it will reveal some hard truths for those around you. But that's okay, because your growth is your gift, not just to yourself, but to the world. Keep going, keep evolving, and remember, your growth is not meant to please everyone. It's meant to honor your own potential, and that is more than enough. Real growth is never a comfortable journey. It demands that you step out of the familiar and into the unknown, often asking you to face things you would rather avoid. Growth is about vulnerability, about being willing to expose parts of yourself that are raw, unpolished, and sometimes even broken. When you push yourself to grow, you're also pushing yourself into discomfort, and that's exactly where transformation happens. We often think of growth as something that just happens naturally, like a tree growing taller each year, but true growth doesn't happen passively. It requires action. It requires effort. It requires you to lean into discomfort instead of running from it. In fact, the more you resist the discomfort that comes with growth, the harder it becomes to move forward. The discomfort is the signal that something is shifting. It's the moment when you're faced with the choice. Will you shrink back into what's comfortable, or will you embrace the challenge that growth brings? Think about a time in your life when you were about to take on something new. Maybe it was a new job, a new relationship, or even a new personal goal. Chances are there was a moment where fear crept in. The voice in your head started to whisper, "What if this doesn't work out?" or "What if I fail?" That voice is part of the discomfort. It's the part of you that wants to protect you from the uncertainty, but it's also the part that holds you back from reaching your potential. Growth forces you to confront these fears head on. It's not about avoiding the discomfort, but about learning to live with it and moving forward anyway. It's about giving yourself permission to feel scared, unsure, or uncertain while still showing up and taking the next step. Vulnerability isn't just about opening up to others. It's about being honest with yourself about what you need to grow and giving yourself the grace to feel uncomfortable while you're in the process. The thing is, we live in a world that often values certainty, stability, and control. We're told that success comes when you have it all figured out, when you know exactly what the future holds, when you can walk through life with no surprises. But true growth doesn't work that way. It requires us to live in the unknown. It forces us to take risks without knowing exactly where they'll lead, and it asks us to embrace the messiness of it all, the failures, the setbacks, the lessons that come from mistakes. It's easy to look at someone who's achieved great things and assume their journey was smooth, but the reality is their growth probably came with many moments of uncertainty and fear. They likely faced obstacles and doubts, just like you do. The difference is they didn't let those things stop them. They used the discomfort as fuel to keep going, knowing that growth isn't linear. It's messy, unpredictable, and often uncomfortable. But it's in those moments of discomfort that we are forced to find new strengths we never knew we had. In many ways, discomfort is a teacher. It pushes you to expand your limits, to find new ways to cope, and to develop new skills. When you experience discomfort, you're forced to dig deep and ask yourself, what do I need to learn here? What can this experience teach me? It's in those moments that growth often happens the fastest. The things that scare you the most, those are often the things that will help you evolve the most. However, embracing discomfort doesn't mean that you should seek out suffering or put yourself in situations that are harmful. It means that when discomfort inevitably shows up, you don't shy away from it. You allow yourself to feel the fear, the anxiety, the uncertainty, and then you move through it. You take the step even when it feels hard, because that's where the magic happens. That's where the growth is. Growth is not about staying in a comfortable, familiar place where everything feels predictable. It's about challenging yourself to step outside of that and see what you're truly capable of. The discomfort that comes with growth is not something to fear, it's something to embrace. Because without it, there can be no progress. Without the willingness to feel uncomfortable, there can be no transformation. The next time you find yourself faced with a new opportunity or a challenge that makes you nervous, remember this: growth will never feel comfortable, but that discomfort is not a sign that you should stop. It's a sign that you're on the right track. You're growing, you're evolving, and you're becoming the person you are meant to be. And that's more than worth the discomfort. So lean into the discomfort, embrace it, let it teach you, because on the other side of it, you'll find the person you've been working so hard to become, and that person will be stronger, braver, and more capable than you ever imagined. When you begin to grow and evolve, one of the most difficult things to accept is that not everyone will be happy for you. In fact, some people will resist your progress, not because they don't care about you, but because your growth challenges something within them. It's easy to internalize the idea that when people react negatively to your changes, it must be because you're doing something wrong or because they don't care about you. But the truth is their reaction has nothing to do with your worth or your ability. It's a reflection of their own fears, insecurities, and resistance to change. Growth isn't just about you changing, it's about how your transformation affects those around you. When you decide to step into a new version of yourself, to take risks, to go after things that scare you, you can unintentionally trigger discomfort in others. It's not your fault, but it is a reality that you will face as you continue on your journey. People who are stuck in their own lives, who have chosen comfort and stability over risk and growth, can feel threatened by your progress. Your courage to move forward serves as a reminder of what they are not doing, of what they might be avoiding, and of how much they are staying the same. This can stir up feelings of envy, resentment, or even guilt in those who haven't yet been able to make the same choices for themselves. The challenge here is that their discomfort, their resistance to your growth, can sometimes feel personal. It can feel like rejection, as if they are not supporting you or don't want you to succeed. But it's important to remember that their reactions are about them, not you. People who are afraid to change or who have chosen not to will often find themselves triggered by others who are taking risks and making changes. They might not know how to handle the reflection your growth holds up to them. Your transformation forces them to face their own stagnation, and that's hard. It's uncomfortable. So instead of cheering you on, they might retreat, criticize, or express disappointment in ways that can leave you feeling confused or hurt. But what you need to understand is this: their response is not a reflection of your value or potential. It is a reflection of their own inability or unwillingness to step into the same kind of growth. It's easy to feel discouraged when the people you care about don't seem to support your journey, but the truth is their reaction is not your responsibility. You cannot control how others feel about your growth, nor should you feel obligated to manage their discomfort. What you can control is how you show up for yourself, and that ultimately is all that matters. This doesn't mean that you should stop caring about the people in your life or disregard their feelings. Of course, you want to maintain healthy, supportive relationships. But it does mean that you should understand that not everyone will be ready to support you in the ways you hope. Some people, in fact, might distance themselves because your growth reminds them of everything they are avoiding in their own lives. And that's okay. Let them have their space. You don't need to shrink your journey to fit into their comfort zone. The reality is, you will lose some people along the way. As you grow, you will outgrow certain relationships, and that can be painful. But it's also a natural part of the process. Not everyone is meant to go with you on your journey. Some people are meant to be part of your story for a season, while others may not have the capacity to walk alongside you as you evolve. And that's a hard truth to accept, especially when you want everyone around you to be as excited about your growth as you are. But the truth is, growth often requires that we leave behind things that no longer serve us, and sometimes that includes relationships. The right people will stick around. The people who are also committed to their own growth, who are willing to step outside their own comfort zones, will be the ones who celebrate your growth with you. They will encourage you, challenge you, and support you in ways that empower you to keep going. But the ones who are stuck in their own fear of losing people stop you from growing. You will remain stuck in a life that's smaller than the one you're meant to live. So keep going, keep evolving, keep challenging yourself. And remember, the discomfort you might face from others is a sign that you're moving in the right direction. It's a reflection of how much you're pushing the boundaries of your own life and the lives of those around you. Your growth might be hard for them to accept, but it's not your job to make their discomfort go away. Your job is to keep growing, to keep evolving, and to keep honoring the person you are becoming. When it comes to your own growth, it's easy to get caught up in trying to please others, to seek validation from those around you. We all want to be supported and encouraged, especially when we're stepping into new territory or making big changes in our lives. But the reality is that the journey of growth is deeply personal, and the only person you need to focus on is yourself. You are the one who gets to decide what growth looks like for you, and you are the one who gets to determine what steps you will take to honor your potential. You can't control how others perceive your growth or how they react to it. And, as hard as it may be, you must accept that you don't owe anyone an explanation for your progress or your journey. People might not always understand why you're making the changes you're making, or they might not agree with the choices you're making. That's okay. You are not here to live up to someone else's expectations of what you should be doing. You're here to be true to yourself, to honor the calling inside you that pushes you to grow, evolve, and become more of who you're meant to be. The key is to recognize that your growth is yours and yours alone. It's easy to feel like you need to justify every step you take or explain why you're pursuing a certain goal or making a difficult decision. But if you're constantly waiting for the approval of others, you'll find yourself stuck in a cycle of seeking external validation that will never be enough. No matter how much you try to please others, there will always be someone who disagrees with your path, who questions your choices, or who challenges your vision for your life. And if you allow that to derail you, you'll find it hard to move forward. The truth is, the only person you need to worry about is the person you see in the mirror every day. The only person whose opinion truly matters is your own. When you make a decision, when you take a step toward growth, it should be because it feels right for you, not because you think it will make others happy or comfortable. When you start making decisions based on your own needs, desires, and values, you free yourself from the constant pressure to seek external approval. You stop living for others and start living for yourself. This doesn't mean you disregard the feelings of those around you. Of course, you care about your loved ones and want their support, but their support should never be the thing that drives your decisions. When you make choices based on what feels aligned with who you are and where you're going, it strengthens your self-worth and deepens your belief in your own path. The more you listen to yourself and trust your own instincts, the more confident you become in your ability to create the life you want. The reality is, your growth will often challenge the status quo of those around you. It will push boundaries and disrupt comfort zones. And while some people will embrace that change, others might resist it. They might question your choices, doubt your abilities, or even try to steer you in a different direction. But it's important to remember that their reactions are not a reflection of your abilities or your worth. Their discomfort is a reflection of their own fears. It's about them not understanding the path you're walking, and that's okay. You don't need their permission to grow. You don't need their approval to keep moving forward. The only permission you need is your own. As you continue to grow, you will encounter moments of doubt, fear, and uncertainty, and that's normal, but you will also experience moments of deep clarity and confidence when you realize that you are the one in control of your own destiny. You are the one who decides where you're going and how you're going to get there, and the more you trust yourself, the more you'll find that external validation becomes less important, because at the end of the day, the only validation that matters is the validation you give yourself, the belief you have in your own growth, your own journey, and your own ability to become the person you are meant to be. So keep moving forward. Keep choosing yourself, because you are enough, just as you are, and you are the only one who needs to believe that for your growth to thrive. As you grow and evolve, there's an undeniable truth you'll have to face. You will lose people along the way. It's not always easy to accept, especially when those people are significant to you or have been by your side for a long time. But the reality is that growth in relationships often don't always align. The person you're becoming may no longer fit within the relationships that once defined you, and that's a part of the process. When you commit to your own growth, when you start making decisions that push you outside your comfort zone and force you to confront new challenges, not everyone will understand or be able to keep up with the changes. People who were once a central part of your life may find themselves disconnected from the new version of you, and as difficult as that may be, it's important to understand that losing people is not a reflection of your worth or the value of your growth. It's a natural byproduct of change. The truth is, some relationships are built on shared experiences and mutual comfort. They may have been formed when you were at a particular stage in your life, and they may have served a purpose during that time. But as you evolve and pursue new goals, new passions, and a new version of yourself, some of those relationships may no longer align with who you are becoming. The dynamic shifts, and it can feel uncomfortable or even heartbreaking. It might feel like a loss, but sometimes it's simply a part of moving forward. This doesn't mean that those relationships didn't matter or that they didn't serve an important role in your life. It simply means that people change, and as you grow, the relationships you keep will either evolve with you or fade away. This is a hard truth, especially when the people you lose are people you deeply care about. But what you need to remember is that not everyone is meant to travel the same path as you, and that's okay. Your growth may challenge their comfort zones, just as it challenges yours, and sometimes that's more than they are ready to face. It's tempting to try to hold on to relationships out of fear of loss, will only hinder your own progress. As you grow, some people may fall away not because they don't care about you, but because they are on their own journey, and their journey might be taking them in a different direction. This is where you need to allow yourself to let go of any guilt or shame associated with losing people. You are not responsible for their growth, just as they are not responsible for yours. People come into your life for reasons, seasons, and sometimes for a lifetime, and some people are simply not meant to be with you as you continue on your path. The relationships that truly matter will evolve with you. The right people will not only accept your growth, but will embrace it and encourage you along the way. They will celebrate your victories, challenge you to keep moving forward, and hold space for the times when growth feels painful or uncertain. The people who are meant to be in your life will not hold you back or try to keep you tethered to a version of yourself that no longer serves. Instead, they will cheer you on as you continue to become the person you are destined to be. However, there will be those who choose not to walk with you anymore, and that's something you need to come to terms with. It's not a sign of failure, it's simply a sign that your path has shifted, and with it, the people who will walk alongside you. Sometimes those relationships simply can't keep up with the changes you're making, and that's okay. Letting go is not about rejecting those people or their place in your life. It's about honoring your own journey and understanding that at certain points, you need different people who understand where you're going. Losing people is hard, no doubt, but it's also a sign that you are evolving. It's proof that you are stepping into new territories and creating space for people who can match your energy and your vision for your life. This is not about severing ties with people you care about. It's about recognizing that growth requires change, and sometimes that change means evolving in different directions. Remember that the right people will find their way to you. Those who resonate with the new version of you, who appreciate your growth and who are also committed to their own personal development, will show up. They will be the ones who inspire you to keep going, the ones who help you level up. And those relationships, though they may be fewer, will be deeper, more authentic, and more aligned with the person you're becoming. So while losing people can feel painful, know that it's often necessary for your growth. Trust that as you continue on your path, the relationships you need will find their way to you, and in the meantime you will grow stronger, more confident, and more aligned with your own truth. Your growth will always be worth it, even if it means letting go of things, and sometimes people who no longer fit into your life. Keep going, because your growth is not just about the person you're becoming, it's about the life you're creating, and that's worth every step, every change, and yes, even every loss. As you continue on your journey of growth, one of the most crucial lessons you'll learn is that your path will never be linear. Growth is not a straight line from point A to point. It's filled with twists, turns, setbacks, and unexpected detours. And while the world often celebrates success in neat, tidy packages, the truth is that true growth comes in fits and starts. It's messy, unpredictable, and sometimes downright uncomfortable. But that's exactly why it's so powerful. When you embark on the journey of personal growth, you are often stepping into unknown territory. It's natural to assume that you should be moving forward in a straight, predictable line, but life doesn't always work that way. There will be moments when you feel like you're making incredible progress, and then there will be times when you hit a wall, question everything, or feel like you've taken 2 steps back. That's not a sign that you've failed or that you're not growing. It's simply a part of the process. What you have to understand is that setbacks and challenges are not obstacles. They are essential elements of growth. Each time you experience a setback, you're being given the opportunity to reassess, reflect, and recalibrate. These moments may feel discouraging, but they are actually some of the most important moments on your journey. It's during the hard times that you learn the most about yourself and about what you're capable of. And while it's tempting to see these moments as failures, they are actually steps forward in the long run. If you've ever felt like growth was happening in bursts rather than a steady stream, you're not alone. Most people go through periods of intense personal development, followed by periods of rest or even stagnation. It's easy to get frustrated during the slow periods, but it's important to remember that growth isn't always about forward motion. Sometimes you need to pause, reflect, and let everything you've learned settle before you can take the next big step. Those moments of stillness are just as important as the moments of action. They give you the space to integrate everything that's changing inside of you. One of the hardest parts about personal growth is learning to embrace this ebb and flow. Society often pushes us to keep going, to keep achieving, to keep striving for the next thing. We're taught that progress is a constant upward trajectory, and anything less than that is failure. But that's not how growth works. Growth is cyclical. It involves periods of intense change, followed by periods of quiet reflection. It's during those quieter moments that you often make the most significant breakthroughs. This cyclical nature of growth can also teach you the importance of patience. We live in a world that values instant results, where everything from food to technology to social media is designed to give us immediate satisfaction. But true growth doesn't work on a timetable. It's a slow and steady process that requires persistence and patience. There will be times when you feel like you're stuck in a loop, not making any progress. But if you keep going, keep showing up for yourself, and keep moving forward, even if it's just one small step at a time, you'll begin to see the fruits of your labor. Moreover, it's essential to recognize that growth is not always about doing more. Sometimes it's about doing less. It's about stepping back, letting go of the need to control everything, and allowing things to unfold in their own time. You can't force growth. It's not something that can be rushed or dictated. Just like a plant needs time to grow, so do you. Trust that the time you spend in stillness, in rest, and in reflection is just as important as the time you spend actively working toward your goal. Another important aspect of growth is learning to embrace uncertainty. When you're pushing yourself to grow, you're often venturing into uncharted waters, and that can be terrifying. You don't know what's ahead, you don't know if you'll succeed, and you certainly don't know what the outcome will be. But what you need to understand is that uncertainty is a part of growth. It's impossible to grow without stepping into the unknown. The fear paralyzes you. Use it as a signal that you're exactly where you need to be. In fact, the more you learn to embrace uncertainty, the more you'll begin to trust yourself and your own ability to handle whatever comes your way. Growth isn't about having all the answers or knowing exactly how things will unfold. It's about being willing to face the unknown, take risks, and trust that you have the resilience and strength to navigate whatever challenges arise. Finally, it's important to remember that growth is not about perfection. It's about progress. The process will never be flawless. There will be times when you make mistakes, when things don't go according to plan, or when you feel like you're not where you thought you'd be, but that's okay. Growth is not about getting everything right. It's about learning from each experience, each misstep, and each success. Every step, no matter how small, is a step toward becoming the person you are meant to be. So when the road gets tough, when the progress feels slow, and when you feel like you're moving in circles, remember that this is all a part of the journey. Growth isn't a straight line, it's a winding path, full of unexpected turns, stops and starts. But with each step you take, you are becoming stronger, wiser, and more aligned with the person you are meant to be. Keep going, even when it feels messy, even when it feels uncertain, because on the other side of that messy, unpredictable journey is the life you've always dreamed of creating, and that's worth every twist and turn. As you continue on this path of growth, remember that it's not about perfection or achieving every goal without setbacks. It's about showing up for yourself every day, embracing the challenges, the discomfort, and the unknown with courage and determination. Your journey is uniquely yours, and while it may not always be easy, it is undeniably worth it. Each step you take, no matter how small, is a step toward becoming the best version of yourself. Don't let the fear of losing people, the discomfort of change, or the uncertainty of the future stop you from moving forward. Trust in your ability to navigate the ups and downs, to learn from your experiences, and to continue evolving, no matter what. Keep believing in yourself, even when the road gets tough. The right people will find their way to you, the right opportunities will unfold, and the right version of you will emerge stronger, wiser, and more capable than ever. Good luck on this beautiful and sometimes messy journey of growth. You've got everything it takes to keep going. Thank you for taking the time to reflect on this message today, and know that every step you take is a step toward greatness. Keep going, keep growing, and never stop believing in the power of your own potential.